The woman who destroyed a family to claim her prize is now desperately plotting her escape from it. And the irony is so thick you could choke on it. Robyn Brown, the wife who spent over a decade positioning herself as Kody's one true love, the woman who systematically watched 3 marriages crumble while clutching her pearls and playing innocent, is now reportedly preparing divorce papers of her own. Let that satisfying piece of cosmic justice wash over you for a moment. A so-called loyal wife, the favorite, the woman who allegedly manipulated her way into becoming the only legal Mrs. Brown, is apparently discovering that winning the polygamy war means nothing when the prize is a bitter, controlling man that nobody else wants. Sources close to the Brown family are painting a picture of pure chaos unfolding in Flagstaff, and folks, it is absolutely delicious. Robyn has reportedly been making financial moves that mirror exactly what Christine did before she walked away. She has been quietly consulting with advisors, looking into property options, and building what insiders describe as a safety net completely separate from Kody's crumbling empire. The woman who once cried crocodile tears about family unity is now allegedly preparing her exit strategy with the precision of a military operation. And here is the kicker that makes this whole situation even more satisfying. Kody reportedly has no idea what is coming. His ego is so inflated, his narcissism so complete, that he genuinely cannot fathom his favorite wife would ever betray him the way he believes Christine, Janelle, and Mary betrayed him. But betrayal is exactly what insiders are calling it, and they say Robyn has been throwing Kody under the bus in ways that would have been unthinkable even a year ago. She has started publicly contradicting his version of events. She has been reaching out to the very wives she helped push out of the family. She is rewriting history in real time, positioning herself as the peacemaker who tried to hold everything together while Kody destroyed it all. One source put it bluntly, Robyn is finally realizing that being Kody's only wife means being Kody's only target, and she is not willing to take that abuse alone anymore. The other wives had each other to lean on. Robyn has nobody, and the isolation is reportedly destroying her. The upcoming season 20 tell-all footage is said to show a Robyn that audiences have never seen before. She appears emotional, defensive, and for the first time in the show's history, she is not defending Kody. Body language experts who have seen the clips describe her sitting physically distant from her husband, arms crossed, avoiding eye contact like he is a stranger. She cannot wait to get away from. Christine reportedly watched the footage and could not believe what she was hearing come out of Robyn's mouth. The tide has turned, the masks are slipping, and what is being revealed beneath them will shock even Robyn's biggest critics. After Christine left Kody in 2021, followed by Janelle's departure and Mary's quiet exit, the entire Sister Wives fandom assumed one thing: Robyn had won. She had successfully eliminated the competition, secured her position as Kody's sole focus, and would now live happily ever after in her $1 million Flagstaff mansion, while the other wives rebuilt their lives without her interference. It seemed like the ultimate villain victory, the culmination of what many viewers believed was a decade-long campaign to become the only Mrs. Brown that mattered. Robyn had her man, her massive house, her children under one roof with their father, and 0 sister wives to share any of it with. Mission accomplished, right? Wrong, so spectacularly, catastrophically wrong that it would be funny if it was not so deeply satisfying to watch unfold. Sources reveal that the prize Robyn fought so hard to win has become an absolute nightmare, and she is finally understanding what Christine, Janelle, and Mary tried to tell her for years. Kody without sister wives is not a devoted husband freed from distractions. He is an insufferable, controlling, emotionally abusive man with no one else to blame for his misery except the wife standing right in front of him. One insider described the situation with brutal honesty. Robyn used to be the escape from Kody's other marriages. Now she is the only marriage, and she is discovering that Kody's love was never about her, it was about the competition. Without other wives to compare herself to, without the drama of a plural family to distract him, Robyn is experiencing the full weight of Kody's attention, and folks, it is crushing her. The public is watching this karma delivery in real time, and social media has been absolutely ruthless. Comment sections across every Sister Wives video are filled with variations of the same sentiment. You wanted him all to yourself, Robyn. How is that working out for you? The schadenfreude is palpable, and honestly, it is hard to blame viewers for feeling it. This is a woman who sat on national television and cried about family unity while allegedly undermining every relationship Kody had with his other wives. This is the woman who got the legal marriage, the biggest house, and the most time with Kody, while the other wives scraped by with spiritual commitments and leftover attention. Now she is discovering that monopolizing a narcissist means becoming the sole recipient of all his worst qualities. What makes this situation even more compelling is how quickly the dynamic shifted once the other wives were gone. According to those familiar with the Brown household, Kody's behavior toward Robyn changed almost immediately after after Janelle made her exit official. Without anyone else to criticize, compare, or complain about, Kody apparently turned his impossible standards directly onto Robyn. The loyalty tests that drove Christine away are now being applied to his favorite wife. The emotional manipulation that pushed Janelle to her breaking point is now Robyn's daily reality. She wanted to be the only one, and now she is learning exactly what that means. But insiders say Robyn is not taking this lying down. She is making moves calculated and deliberate that prove this is not just typical marital trouble between a difficult husband and a stressed wife. These are the actions of a woman preparing for life after Kody, and the specific steps she is taking should terrify him. Let us talk about money, because that is where this story gets truly fascinating. Sources report that Robyn Brown has been making financial moves over the past several months that should have alarm bells ringing in Kody's head, if only his ego would allow him to hear them. According to insiders, Robyn has been quietly securing assets, exploring property options, and consulting with financial advisors completely independent of her husband. Does that pattern sound familiar? It should, because it is exactly, precisely, down to the smallest detail what Christine did in the months leading up to her departure from the family. Christine's exit was not a spontaneous decision. She planned her escape for months, possibly years, while smiling for the cameras and pretending everything was fine. She sold her Flagstaff home, relocated to Utah, established financial independence, and only then made her announcement. The groundwork was laid long before Kody had any idea what was happening. And now Robyn appears to be reading from the exact same playbook. One source close to the situation described it as textbook exit planning. She is building a safety net, making sure she has options, and positioning herself to survive financially if the marriage ends. This is not a woman who believes her husband will take care of her forever. The financial picture for the Browns is reportedly dire, which makes Robyn's preparations even more urgent. That massive Flagstaff mansion, the one that caused so much controversy when Robyn and Kody purchased it while the other wives struggled with smaller homes, is allegedly underwater. The property is worth less than what they owe, and the mortgage payments are strangling whatever income they have coming in from TLC. The Coyote Pass land that was supposed to be the family's legacy sits undeveloped and essentially worthless. Kody's dreams of building a plural family compound died along with his plural family, and now he is stuck with property nobody wants and debt he cannot escape. Robyn, according to those familiar with her thinking, has done the math and does not like what she sees. She reportedly understands that staying with Kody means going down with a sinking ship, and she has no intention of drowning alongside him. The woman who was once content to let Kody handle all the finances is now allegedly taking control of her own economic future. She has been looking into what assets she might be entitled to in a divorce, what property might be salvageable, and how to protect whatever money remains. One insider put it bluntly: Robyn is not stupid. She sees the writing on the wall, and she is making sure she does not end up broke and alone when the dust settles. But here is what makes this situation even more explosive. Robyn's financial maneuvering is nothing compared to how she has been throwing Kody under the bus publicly. The woman who spent years defending her husband against all criticism is now positioning herself as his victim, and what she has been saying behind closed doors makes her public comments look tame. Something remarkable has happened in the Brown family dynamic. Something that would have been absolutely unthinkable even 18 months ago. Robyn Brown has started publicly contradicting Kody's version of events. She is correcting his narrative, challenging his claims, and subtly but unmistakably placing the blame for the family's destruction squarely on his shoulders while positioning herself as the innocent peacemaker who tried desperately to hold everything together. This is not the Robyn we have watched for over a decade. This is not the woman who nodded along to Kody's every pronouncement, who cried on cue when he wanted sympathy, who defended him even when his behavior was indefensible. This is a Robyn who has apparently decided that her reputation matters more than her marriage. In recent appearances and interviews, Robyn has been dropping comments that directly contradict the story Kody has been telling. When he claims the other wives abandoned the family, Robyn now suggests that perhaps mistakes were made on all sides. When he insists that Christine and Janelle were never fully committed to the plural marriage, Robyn carefully implies that maybe the situation was more complicated than anyone realized. The woman who once echoed every word out of Kody's mouth is now gently but unmistakably separating herself from his narrative. And insiders say this is absolutely deliberate. One source familiar with Robyn's thinking explained it this way: she knows the show is ending eventually, she knows she needs a life after Kody, and she is not going to let his version of events define how the public sees her. But the bus throwing does not stop with subtle interview comments. Sources reveal that Robyn has been reaching out to Christine and Janelle, attempting to rebuild the bridges she spent years helping to burn. Let that sink in for a moment. The woman who many believe was instrumental in destroying Kody's relationships with his other wives is now allegedly calling them, texting them, and trying to reconnect. One insider described Robyn's outreach as almost desperate, like she realizes she is going to need allies when this all falls apart. And the only people who truly understand what she has been through are the women she helped push away. Christine is reportedly being cautious but receptive. Janelle is said to be more skeptical, keeping Robyn at arm's length while watching carefully to see if this apparent change of heart is genuine or just another manipulation. The other wives have been burned by Robyn before, countless times, and they are not rushing to welcome her back into the fold. But the mere fact that Robyn is attempting reconciliation speaks volumes about where her head is at. You do not repair relationships with your husband's ex-wives unless you are preparing to become one yourself. Allow me to translate what Robyn is really communicating through all of this public positioning. She is signaling to viewers, to the media, and to history itself that she was never the villain. She was a victim too, just like Christine, just like Janelle, just like Mary. She tried her best, but Kody was impossible. She wanted family unity, but Kody sabotaged it. She is rewriting history in real time, and the season 20 tell-all footage reportedly shows just how far she is willing to go. The first look at season 20's tell-all special has left longtime Sister Wives viewers absolutely stunned. And for once, it is not because of Kody's explosive outbursts or the other wives' emotional revelations. The shock comes entirely from Robyn, who appears on camera as a version of herself we have never seen in over a decade of this show. She is openly critical of Kody. She is visibly uncomfortable sitting beside him. And for the first time in the show's entire run, she is not leaping to his defense when the criticism starts flying. Sources who have seen the footage describe it as surreal. This is the woman who built her entire television persona around being Kody's loyal supporter, his biggest fan, his ride-or-die partner in everything. And now she is sitting there looking like she cannot wait to escape. Body language analysis of the available clips is particularly damning. Robyn positions herself physically distant from Kody on the tell-all couch, creating visible space between them that would have been unimaginable in previous seasons. Her arms are crossed defensively throughout much of the footage, a classic protective gesture that suggests she is guarding herself against something or someone. She avoids eye contact with Kody when he speaks, instead looking down or away like she cannot bear to watch him perform his usual justifications. One expert who analyzed the clips noted that Robyn's body language reads as someone who is already emotionally checked out of the relationship. She is physically present but mentally somewhere else entirely. What Robyn actually says during the tell-all is reportedly even more shocking than her body language. According to sources, she makes statements that directly undermine Kody's narrative about why the family fell apart. She apparently suggests that perhaps Kody's treatment of the other wives was not as justified as he has claimed. She implies that mistakes were made that can never be taken back. She refuses to validate his victimhood in the way she has always done before. One insider described watching the footage and feeling like they were seeing a completely different person wearing Robyn's face. Christine, who appears alongside the other wives for portions of the tell-all, reportedly could not believe what she was hearing. After years of watching Robyn defend every single thing Kody did, no matter how hurtful or unfair, Christine apparently sat there watching Robyn gently place distance between herself and her husband's behavior. The woman who was once Christine's biggest obstacle in her fight for respect from Kody was suddenly saying things that sounded almost supportive. It was confusing, it was unexpected, and according to those present, it shifted the entire energy of the filming. The other wives noticed the change immediately, and their reactions ranged from cautious optimism to outright suspicion. Janelle reportedly watched Robyn's performance with visible skepticism, apparently unconvinced that this transformation is genuine. Marie's reaction was harder to read, though sources say she seemed uncomfortable throughout much of the filming. Everyone in that room understood they were witnessing something significant, even if they could not quite agree on what it meant. But Robyn's public evolution during the tell-all is just the surface layer of what is happening in the Brown family. Behind closed doors, away from the cameras, the dysfunction runs even deeper. And family insiders have been pulling back the curtain on chaos that makes the tell-all drama look like a minor disagreement. Mykelti Padron has become an unexpected source of Brown family revelations, and her explosive live sessions on social media have given viewers unprecedented access to what is really happening behind the carefully curated TLC footage. Kody and Robyn's daughter-in-law, married to their son Tony, has apparently decided that family loyalty only extends so far, and she has been spilling details that the Brown family clearly never intended intended for public consumption. Her streams have pulled back the curtain on fractures that go far deeper than just Kody's failed marriages, revealing a family at war with itself on nearly every level. According to Kelty's revelations, the Brown family is currently divided into warring camps, with siblings taking sides and relationships deteriorating by the day. The 18 children that Kody fathered across his 4 marriages are not one unified group dealing with their father's choices together. They are fractured, angry, and in some cases completely estranged from each other. The adult children have reportedly formed alliances based on which mother they support, which parent they blame, and whether they believe Robyn was a destructive force in the family or simply another victim of Kody's narcissism. One source close to the siblings described it as a civil war. Brothers and sisters who grew up together are now barely speaking. Robyn's children are reportedly the most isolated of all the Brown kids, which has to be devastating for a woman who sacrificed everything for her children's happiness. Dayton, Aurora, Brianna, Solomon, and Ariella are apparently viewed with suspicion by many of their half-siblings, seen as the children who got everything while everyone else got scraps. They got Kody's time, his attention, his presence at their events and holidays, while the other wives' children saw their father disappear from their lives. Whether that is fair to place on the children themselves is debatable, but the resentment exists regardless of fairness. Robyn's kids are paying the price for their parents' choices, and the family bonds she claimed to value are apparently non-existent. Kelty has also dropped bombshells about Mary's relationship with certain family members, describing a situation that has reached a boiling point. According to her live sessions, there is genuine animosity between Mary and some of the other wives and children, resentments that go back years or even decades. Kelty herself has reportedly been seeking what she describes as revenge against certain family members, suggesting that old wounds have never healed and may actually be getting worse. The peaceful family reunification that TLC might want to stage for ratings is apparently nowhere close to reality. These people are not on a path to reconciliation. They are actively at war. The children's perspective is particularly illuminating when it comes to understanding why Robyn can no longer maintain her innocent victim act. The kids watched everything unfold. They saw how their father treated their mothers. They saw which wife got the biggest house, the most attention, the legal marriage. They saw Robyn crying about family unity while their mothers were pushed aside and ignored. And now those children are adults with voices of their own, and they are using those voices to challenge the narrative Robyn has been crafting. One family source put it simply, the kids know the truth, and Robyn cannot gaslight 20 people who were actually there. This family dysfunction, exposed by Kelty and confirmed by other sources, creates even more pressure on Robyn's already crumbling marriage. She cannot pretend everything is fine when her stepchildren are publicly contradicting her version of events. She cannot play the victim when the actual victims are telling their own stories. And she cannot convince Kody that everyone else is the problem when their own children are lining up to explain exactly why their father is wrong about everything. But the person who seems least able to process any of this information is Kody himself, and his blindness to what is happening may be his ultimate downfall. Let us talk about the most baffling aspect of this entire unfolding disaster. According to multiple sources close to the Brown family, Kody genuinely, truly, in his heart of hearts, does not believe that Robyn would ever leave him. His ego has constructed such an impenetrable fortress around his self-image that he cannot see the obvious signs right in front of his face. The financial maneuvering, the public distancing, the tell-all footage where his wife refuses to defend him, none of it registers in Kody's mind as warning signals. In his version of reality, Robyn is the loyal wife who would never betray him, the one woman who truly understands and appreciates what he has to offer. He is reportedly walking around Flagstaff completely oblivious to the fact that his last remaining wife is preparing her escape. The irony here is so thick you could cut it with a knife. Kody spent years complaining that Christine, Janelle, and Mary were disloyal, that they did not appreciate him, that they failed to meet his needs as a husband. He convinced himself that Robyn was different, special, the one wife who truly loved him for who he is. And now that same narrative is blinding him to reality. He cannot see Robyn's exit preparations because his ego will not allow him to believe that she would ever want to leave. In Kody's mind, he is the victim of 3 failed marriages and 1 perfect one. The idea that his perfect marriage might be crumbling never crosses his consciousness. Meanwhile, sources say Kody continues to blame Christine and Janelle for every problem in his life, including problems that have nothing to do with them. The family fell apart because they left, he apparently tells anyone who will listen. His finances are struggling because they destroyed the show's premise. His relationships with his children are damaged because their mothers turned them against him. At no point in this blame shifting does Kody apparently stop to consider that maybe, just maybe, the common factor in 4 failed marriages is not the 4 different wives. It is him. One insider described Kody's lack of self-awareness as almost clinical. He genuinely cannot see himself as anything other than the victim. This blindness extends to how he has been treating Robyn, which sources describe as increasingly controlling, bitter, and obsessive. Without other wives to focus on, Kody apparently directs all his impossible standards at the one woman left. He reportedly subjects Robyn to loyalty tests similar to what drove Christine away, demanding that she prove her devotion in ways that are exhausting and demeaning. He is bitter about the loss of his other marriages, and that bitterness allegedly poisons every interaction with Robyn. She has become his emotional punching bag, the safe target for all his rage and disappointment. Robyn is reportedly exhausted from being Kody's sole emotional support system, a role she never signed up for. In a plural family, the wives were supposed to share the burden of managing Kody's ego and emotional needs. Now, there are no sister wives to hand him off to when he becomes too much, no one else to absorb his moods and demands. Robyn wanted to be Kody's favorite, his primary focus, his legal wife. She got exactly what she wanted, and it is destroying her. But Kody's emotional blindness is nothing compared to the financial catastrophe he is apparently walking into with his eyes wide shut. If Robyn follows through with divorce, the consequences for Kody will be absolutely devastating. Here is where the sister wives saga takes a turn that should have Kody Brown waking up in cold sweats every night if only he were capable of seeing reality clearly. Unlike his spiritual marriages to Christine, Janelle, and Mary, Kody's marriage to Robyn is legally binding. They are husband and wife in the eyes of the state, with all the legal protections and entitlements that entails, and that means if Robyn decides to divorce him, she has rights that his other wives never had. She could potentially walk away with half of everything, and given the Browns' financial situation, half of nothing is still more than Kody can afford to lose. Legal experts who have analyzed the Browns' situation paint a grim picture of what Kody faces. In a divorce proceeding, Robyn would be entitled to an equitable distribution of marital assets, which means everything they have accumulated during their legal marriage is on the table. The Flagstaff mansion, whatever equity exists in it, would likely be subject to division. Any remaining TLC income would be considered when calculating support obligations. Even the Coyote Pass land that was supposed to be the family's legacy could potentially be impacted. Kody sacrificed 3 marriages for Robyn, and now she holds all the legal cards. The irony is absolutely staggering, but the financial devastation goes beyond just asset division. Sources report that Robyn's children from her first marriage have become deeply attached to Kody, viewing him as their father in every meaningful sense. Solomon and Ariella, the 2 children Robyn and Kody share, are obviously his biological kids, but Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna have also been raised under his roof, with his influence as part of his family. If Robyn divorces Kody and takes those children with her, he loses not just a wife, but an entire household of kids he has spent years raising. The man who alienated his biological children with Christine and Janelle through his own choices would then find himself cut off from Robyn's children too. Let us talk numbers for a moment, because the math here is brutal. The Browns' TLC income has reportedly been declining for years, as ratings drop and the show approaches what many believe is its final conclusion. The Flagstaff property is allegedly worth less than what they owe on it. Coyote Pass sits undeveloped and essentially worthless in the current market. Whatever savings the family had have been depleted by years of financial mismanagement and the cost of maintaining separate households. There is not a lot left to divide, and what remains will be fought over in what promises to be a contentious legal battle. One financial analyst who has followed the Browns situation put it bluntly: Kody is looking at a potential divorce that could leave him functionally bankrupt. He does not have the income to maintain his current lifestyle, he does not have assets worth liquidating, and he does not have a career path that would allow him to rebuild. His entire public identity is tied to being a polygamous patriarch, but he is no longer a polygamist and barely functions as a patriarch. Without TLC money, without Robyn's contribution to the household, and potentially without a home, Kody's future looks increasingly bleak. But perhaps the most devastating question viewers are asking is not about the financial details or the legal implications. The question on everyone's mind is whether Robyn planned this outcome from the very beginning. A controversial theory has been gaining significant traction across Sister Wives fan communities, and it is one that casts Robyn's entire journey in the Brown family in a completely different light. What if Robyn Brown was never the naive romantic who just wanted to be part of a loving plural family? What if she was always, from the very first episode she she appeared in, playing a long game designed to end exactly where we are now? What if every tear, every plea for family unity, every appearance of being caught in the middle was actually calculated manipulation aimed at a specific goal? It sounds paranoid, it sounds like conspiracy thinking, but when you look back at the evidence, the theory becomes surprisingly compelling. Consider the facts as they unfolded over more than a decade of television. Robyn entered the Brown family as a young single mother, sympathetic and vulnerable, the perfect figure to win both Kody's heart and audience support. Within a short time, she had maneuvered herself into the position of legal wife, convincing Kody to divorce Meri so he could legally adopt her children. That legal marriage gave Robyn protections and rights that none of the other wives had. Was that just practical planning for her kids, or was it step one in securing her position? Then came the housing decisions, with Robyn consistently ending up with the biggest, most expensive properties while the other wives complained about unfair treatment. Critics argue that Robyn systematically destabilized each of Kody's other marriages while maintaining plausible deniability. She was always just caught in the middle, always just trying to keep the peace, always just as hurt as everyone else by the conflict. But somehow, mysteriously, the conflict always seemed to benefit her position while weakening everyone else's. Christine felt neglected and eventually left. Janelle was pushed to the sidelines and eventually left. Meri was treated so poorly that she essentially checked out of the marriage years before making it official. And through it all, Robyn's position only strengthened. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe Robyn understood exactly what she was doing every step of the way. But there is a counter-argument that deserves fair consideration. Perhaps Robyn genuinely loved the idea of plural marriage and wanted nothing more than a big, loving family. Perhaps she is not a master manipulator, but simply a survivor doing what she needed to do in an impossible situation. Kody's narcissism and controlling behavior have been documented extensively, and Robyn may simply be another victim who happened to be better positioned than the others to weather the storm. One source close to Robyn suggested that people underestimate how hard it is to be married to someone like Kody. She made choices to protect herself and her kids, and judging her for survival instincts is unfair. The truth probably lies somewhere in the middle, as it usually does. Robyn may not have entered the family with a master plan, but she certainly learned to play the game as it developed. She understood what Kody wanted and gave it to him. She understood what made him turn against his other wives and avoided those behaviors herself. Whether that makes her a calculating villain or a smart survivor depends largely on your perspective and sympathies. Whatever her motivations over the past decade, one thing is absolutely certain. Robyn's next move will determine the entire Brown family's future, and everyone is watching to see what she does. And so we arrive at the ultimate irony of the sister-wives saga, an irony so perfect it almost seems scripted. Robyn Brown spent years fighting to become Kody's primary focus, his favorite wife, his legal partner, his everything. She got exactly what she wanted. Christine left, Janelle left, Meri left. The competition was eliminated, the field was cleared, and Robyn stood alone as the last woman standing. She won the polygamy war in decisive fashion, and winning that battle may have destroyed everything she thought she was fighting for. The prize Robyn claimed was not a devoted husband. Freed from distractions, it was a bitter, controlling man whose sense of self depended on having multiple wives to compare and rank. Without that dynamic, without the drama of plural marriage to occupy his attention, Kody has apparently become unbearable. The same qualities that made Robyn the favorite, her submission, her support, her willingness to prioritize him above all else, now make her the sole target of his impossible demands. She cannot be the favorite if there is no one else to be less favored, that the entire structure of their relationship depended on a competition that no longer exists. Kody now faces a scenario that would have seemed impossible just a few years ago, the very real possibility of ending up completely and utterly alone, abandoned by Christine, who rebuilt her life and found genuine happiness without him. Abandoned by Janelle, who chose her children over a husband who demanded she choose him. Abandoned by Meri, who spent years in a loveless marriage before finally walking away. And now potentially abandoned by Robyn, the one wife he was certain would never leave. 4 marriages, 4 failures, and the only common factor is a man who still somehow believes everyone else is the problem. The Brown family legacy, whatever that even means at this point, lies in ruins. The dream of a unified plural family raising children together in harmony was exposed as a fantasy years ago. Now even the pretense is gone, the children are divided into hostile camps, the properties are financial burdens rather than family homes. The TLC show that documented it all is capturing nothing but wreckage. What started as an attempt to normalize polygamy and show America that plural families could thrive has become a cautionary tale about ego, narcissism, and the consequences of prioritizing one relationship over all others. Whether Robyn ultimately follows follows through with divorce remains to be seen. She may pull the trigger and walk away, joining her sister wives in the post-Kody promised land, or she may orchestrate a dramatic reconciliation storyline, complete with tears and promises and one more season of manufactured hope. TLC would certainly love that narrative, and Robyn has proven she knows how to play to the cameras. But whatever she decides, one thing has fundamentally shifted in the Brown family dynamic. Robyn is now in control. The woman who was once dismissed as Kody's puppet, his favorite accessory, his most compliant wife, now holds all the cards. She can destroy him financially, expose him publicly, and walk away whenever she chooses. Do you think Robyn is finally seeing the real Kody after years of willful blindness, or has she been planning this escape route since the day she entered the family? The evidence supports both theories, and reasonable people can disagree. But one thing is beyond debate. The sister wives story is not ending with a plural family reunited in harmony. It is ending with chaos, betrayal, and the satisfying sight of karma delivering exactly what everyone involved has earned.